I'm Melissa Joan Hart, and most people know me for my work on my TV shows Clarissa Explains It All, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, or Melissa and Joey. This is your
awesome,
throne.
my abode. Oh, well, thank you again for having me.
Of course, welcome. I'm excited. I've never done anything like this, so I'm like nervous and excited and a whole bunch of emotions going on.
No worries,
So.
that's understandable.
I guess I've never done it because I'm a skeptic. I don't really know how much I believe somebody can talk to the dead or be clairvoyant, but also been raised a good Christian girl, and there's some things in the Bible about mediums and whatnot, so I'm taking a chance, so.
Now, the way that I work is that I work as a clairvoyant, so I see information.
Okay.
It's a gift I've had since I was a child. I believe it's a gift from God.
So I like that you said that it's a gift from God, because as a Christian, I know that there are some things in the Bible about it and whatnot, and so I was wondering what your take on all that is.
Absolutely. In looking at the verses of the Bible that speak against mediums, historically, what a medium was in that day and age and what is spoken against is very different than a medium that we might understand today.
Okay.
Mediums, historically and contextually, back in that time, worshipped other gods. There were a lot more than just connecting to people who've passed. That definition of medium was different biblically. So I believe that in this process, you know, throughout this, my goal is honestly just to deliver messages of hope, of closure, of insight, of clarity, and to do that in a way that's going to be respectful. And that very well, some people call it heaven, other people call it the other side.
Yeah.
But I do believe our loved ones do continue on, that they are with God, that they are with a higher power.
Okay.
And I believe that, and I really believe that that's what this work does.
That puts me completely at ease,
Good.
so
Awesome.
I'm excited. Let's do this.
Absolutely, let's do it. All right.
I'm so excited.
Who knows who will come through? It could be people you know, might be people that are related to family, and we'll go from there. Of those objects, which would you like me to touch on first?
I think the music box.
Okay, perfect. Awesome, so that would be this, I see.
And when everybody asks me, what would you grab in a fire? This is what I would grab out of my house in a fire. But I wanted to have it here so that we could see what comes through. It would belong to someone who was very special to me.
Okay, so if you don't mind, I'll hold on to that very gently. And we'll go from there. Okay. Okay. There is a reference. Okay, thank you. She's bringing in an S. First, I want a reference to who's Effie, Ethel, or something of that connection.
Ethel is my paternal grandmother.
That'd be your paternal grandmother. Okay, so that would be the connection. I just wanted to make sure, because I'm like...
And S is probably Stanley, my maternal grandfather.
Sure. NeNe Leakes. I know her from Glee.
Oh, look at you. You're so cute.
Oh, thank you.
How about that? I resorted to calling kids and asking them about my problem.
That's okay. We're gonna figure it out.
You're looking like me, honey. You stole my hair color and everything.
I know, I'm loving it.
How dare you?
I know, one of us has to trade.
As far as my beliefs, I'm a little skeptical, but I want to believe, so I really, really want him to make a connection.
Being a medical intuitive, I touched the bell and randomly became overwhelmed with a bunch of sensations that I had absolutely no control over. I'm so sorry, I'm sweating.
It's okay, it's okay.
In the process of a reading where medical mediumship is coming through, there are references oftentimes to how someone passed away, and I take on these physical symptoms and have to deliver them in order for them to go away. We have a woman coming through. I don't know what this is. That's odd. As she's kind of coming through with this, she's making me just feel very, almost heavy is kind of the way I would put it. I'm getting an overwhelming feeling that I can't quite pinpoint. And so as I'm going through this process, my face is starting to get sweaty, I'm starting to feel pale and clammy, and just overall very uncomfortable. As this is coming through, I just want to lay down. This can be the scariest part of a reading, just because I don't know what's gonna happen next. I don't know whether I'm gonna sweat or get a chest pain. I don't know where it's gonna go or how it's even gonna continue to manifest. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna take a really quick little 30-second thing to... I was trying really hard to decipher the message, but this was just too overwhelming.
I was worried. I was like, oh my God, he's sweating his off. What the hell?
I feel like I'm having difficulty kind of doing this. She's bringing me to this for some reason. As this is happening, there's a reference directly where I feel like as I'm trying to swallow. So doing that, she's referencing to the filtration system of the body shutting down. She's referencing one kidney, actually. Do you know if there were any issues with the kidneys?
Yeah.
Okay, so who would have had the kidney issue exclusively?
My mom.
And so then with this, who would this be connected to?
My mother.
Your mother, okay.
I grew up not having my mom. It was very hard for me, you know, as a teenager, you know, you want to be with your mom. So I know how to cope, you know, I always knew how to cope without having my mom since I was very young.
And so with that, in how she comes through, she's just absolutely lovely. She's absolutely lovely. But there is a feeling of like, thank you for allowing me to move forward, to pass, to cross over.
She made a call knowing that I was out of the state and saying, I want NeNe to come.
Right.
Because she was in the hospital.
Right, yes.
You know, she wanted to make sure that she could hear me or talk to me. But once I got there,
right.
you know, I was talking to her saying, I'm here.
Right.
And at that point, you know, like a couple days later, she went on.
Right. As NeNe's validating the information, I'm starting to notice that I'm feeling drastically better. I'm noticing that I'm sweating less, I'm no longer seeing references to the filtration system, and that's my way of knowing that what is coming through is being delivered in the way that it's meant. Oh, funny enough, when I'm holding on to this, I have to talk about the two brothers, but like, do you know if he had a brother?
Yep.
Okay. And then there's a reference.
He had two brothers.
Okay, cool. I have to talk about one of them. Go back and check within family and see if they had like a very defining feature on the face that would have been like either a birthmark or like either a large scar, a birthmark, or some like thing on the skin.
On the face?
On the face,
Okay.
yeah. Do you know of anyone who dealt with like
Skin abnormality?
like a skin abnormality on their head or face? Like either a birthmark, I don't know if it's a cherry mark.
Oh, wow. Yes.
It's like, but it's like defining
Yes.
thing. Yes.
That's crazy.
Okay, where would that fit?
He had 3 brothers.
Okay.
I forgot.
Ah.
There was brother Al, who I believe was his older brother.
Okay.
And Al had a birthmark on his head.
Okay, so that's interesting. I feel like that's their way of reminding, like, hey, there's another brother. So
Easy.
please know that.
That's crazy. I had totally forgot about his brother Alan. And then I remember he had kind of that big brown spot in the middle of his forehead, and I went, ah, that's it. That was a crazy one, because there's no way anybody would have known that. Nobody.
Hi, I'm DJ. Nice to meet you.
Great to meet you.
Welcome to my home.
Wow, thank you so much for having me.
My name is DJ Quas, and Tyler might recognize me from Hustle and Flow, The New Guy, Road Trip, or my new TV show, The Man in the High Castle.
This is beautiful.
Thank you. I'm nervous.
Oh, no worries. I'm nervous too.
Okay, good.
When DJ opened the door, I had absolutely no idea who he was, but he was very sweet, and right when I sat down, I knew in that moment everything was going to be okay. Have you ever seen a psychic before?
Yeah, but just have my cards read and sort of as a laugh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So I didn't have a connection with it. I didn't really speak to very much.
Sure.
I won't say that I'm a believer, but I will say that I'm really open. Because I'm smart enough to know that I don't know a lot.
There's a joke about it. It's a terrible joke, but having to chop off a pinky or a toe.
He didn't have a pinky. He lost a pinky.
We call it stubby.
Oh my God, that's
There's
so
a joke
weird.
about the stub.
Well, my grandfather worked in an ice factory, like in the 40s and 50s.
Wow.
And he ground his pinky off in an ice machine, and people called him Stubby, but he used it as a teaching tool. He told me, because how this happened, somebody had gotten poison ivy on their hands and couldn't come to work.
Right.
And he said, and it was a guy that he didn't like, and he was like, basically, I hope it eats his finger off. And he lost his finger that same day, and he told me that story about his pinky, so I would never wish something bad on another person.
Wow. Wow.
That is really specific.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that in years.
I really feel like DJ's grandfather came through so much with so many specifics, childhood memories, inside jokes, basically helped him remember that they had such a beautiful relationship.
This is really emotional. I wasn't expecting this.
He's referencing to his physical health. Now, the defining factor with him is that he's referencing to a susceptibility to serious lung issues. He's putting an abnormal emphasis on the fluid part. He's not showing me lung cancer.
It's not.
It's like, but he is referencing to the fluid in the lungs. This is something else.
Wow, this is incredible.
He's saying that he really put on a brave face. And this is really kind of the big thing. When he came across, this is a guy who didn't like to complain.
Mm-hmm. You're definitely right. He never talked about anything.
And it was kind of like, don't need to run off to the doctor to get bad news.
He would not see the doctor at all.
From his perspective, he was okay with his passing. To him, if he had to just wake up every morning and take a supplement or take a pill, that to him would be limiting his life.
So crazy, because he would not take medication. He had diabetes, but he died. His fluids, his lungs filled with fluids, and that's how he passed.
Wow.
And so I think that maybe there was some pneumonia that he thought was coming, but he would not go to the doctor.
Right.
The thing is, I was the person that found him. And when I think about that, I think about him lying there and drowning in his sleep. And that was something very specific to say to me because I've thought about it so much.
Yeah, the way that he comes across with this is that he's acknowledging that at the time that he actually passed away, that nothing could be done at that point, and that's important to know.
I'm gonna grab a tissue. Sorry,
please do.
Way more emotional than I expected. My parents were very young when I was born, and my grandfather sort of took up the slack. When he died, it was such an absence for me, and I still feel it.
Do you know if there's any May connections to your family, M-A-E?
Betty May is my grandma.
Okay, so in hers, but was it M-A-E, not M-A-Y?
M-A-E. She was my favorite grandma.
Interestingly, there's a reference to a piano key that won't go down.
Now, this is crazy because she bequeathed her piano to me, and it was like her prized possession. My grandma, Betty May, she meant so much. That validated that there was something there.
Wow. She comes through in a very strong, supportive way for you.
When my grandmother and I were close was a difficult time. And, you know, she was like the teenager whisperer, the one person in your life that kind of gets you and can see like how hard that might be.
So first two things. One, the amount of love that she has for you is immense, so please know that. Number two, the immediate thing that she conveys is that you're not in this life alone. And she still very much has a very direct connection with you, and it is a bond that is absolutely unbreakable. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that you two will be together because she will be the first person you see when you transition someday.
I feel guilty and I feel sad that I didn't cry when she died. And I think it was just so heavy, I couldn't even go there emotionally. I couldn't even allow myself to, because I don't know if I'd be able to get out of it. And I don't think I've ever, like, mourned her death.
I started noticing that her skepticism was fading as more and more specific pieces of information started coming through. I feel like she got immense relief from that. She definitely was emotional, teared up, and to me, that's a sign of healing. For me in a reading, when I'm able to do that, that means I've done my job properly.
Does she miss me?
Very, very much so.
I'm definitely kind of swaying more towards the believer part. Hearing that she's with me all the time was very emotional.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Do you have any other areas I might be able to? It's a lot. I know we kind of ran through.
No, I feel
great.
good.
Good.
And content with everything. There were so many little tidbits that made me a lot less skeptical. When's his next appointment?